New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Live from a secure concrete bunker somewhere in Ohio, New Thought Media Network presents Pastor Michael Mangus with Friday's Fireside Chat, spiritual conversation for today. Here he is from the secret radio room, surrounded by thousands of watts, Pastor Michael Mangus.
Good evening, everyone, from across the nation and around the world. We welcome you this evening to Friday's Fireside Chat here on the New Thought Media Network. I am Pastor Michael Mangus, a little late this evening. I was worrying my producer, Diego, and also our special guest this evening, Reverend Dr. Tim Stewart. Where is Michael? Well, Michael just came in here, and it's really good to see everyone this evening. Again, this is another fun-filled throwback and guaranteed, always exciting edition of the Fireside Chat here on New Thought Media Network. Again, Pastor Michael Mangus, surrounded by thousands of watts in the secret radio room in a secure concrete bunker somewhere around Akron, Ohio, that again is so top secret. Now, Diego knows where I'm at. Dr. Tim doesn't yet. But Reverend Robert Brzezinski thinks he does, but he has no clue where the super secret broadcast facility in a secure concrete bunker is located. Again, wonderful show for you this evening. Please feel free to interact with us by posting your comments here on Facebook. And again, for all the shy people out there, again, if you'd like to email me, pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com, pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com. Again, the purpose of our Fireside Chat is to talk about contemporary issues from a New Thought perspective. And as I keep saying week after week, I want us all to have a new thought about what is going on around us, not only here in the United States, but also globally. And again, you do not have to agree with me. That's one of the reasons we play the disclaimer every week. There is a serious part to that disclaimer, is that they are my views and none others. So I want us all to start thinking deeply about what is going on in the world. Remember that thing that we call oneness that we talk about each and every week in our centers? I want us all to start asking ourselves, what part of this is ours? How can we heal ourselves so that we can also heal the planet? We have a great guest this evening in our green room. The president of the International New Thought Alliance, Reverend Dr. Tim Stewart, who's been on our show before. He'll be speaking about the INTA 106th annual conference called Conscious Awakening, an online event that's next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, July 20th, 21st, and 22nd, and we'll give you more information. Again, it's at your house, so you can still sign up. It's going to be a great time here. So for more information on that conference, you can go to newthoughtevents.org. Good producer already has it up. And also more information about INTA, you can go to newthougtalliance.com. And we'll tell you more about INTA and the important work that they do within New Thought and also in the world. We start off the news this evening, again, with the Surfside condo collapse. It says the search of the Surfside rubble will not stop until every person is found, officials say. After more than 3 weeks of searching, crews at the site of the condo collapse in Surfside have made great progress, but the intensity of their work isn't over, an official says. On the original collapse site, we are almost at bottom. Does that mean that we are almost done with the search? No. Until we clear the entire site and find no more human remains, we are not done. A spokesperson for the Miami-Dade Police Department said that we are almost there, though. Since part of the building collapsed in the middle of the night on June 24th, crews have recovered 97 bodies from the rubble, identifying 92 victims and notifying 92 families, according to a Thursday news release from the Miami-Dade's mayor's office. Moving forward, the county says it will only be reporting the number of victims who have been identified out of respect for the families who are still waiting, to ensure that we are reporting the most accurate number. Diverse communities have come together in Surfside, attempting to grasp for strength and faith. Synagogues and churches opened their arms for emergency prayer services after the collapse. Vigils were held for the missing, and many prayed, sobbed, and hugged, with the tower's ruins visible in the background. It is obvious that this has become more than a collapsed building site. It is a holy site. That was Surfside Mayor Charles Burkett, and he said that earlier this week. So from the state of Ohio, we saw the return of Ohio Search and Rescue 1, the same squad that was sent to the World Trade Center 20 years ago. They were welcomed back to Dayton on Tuesday. Again, our prayers for peace and comfort are with all of the survivors, the families, and first responders. And like we have said week after week, if there's anything that we can do here at the New Thought Media Network, please contact us at info@ntmedia.org or prayer@ntmedia.org. We have extreme weather in the news. For those of you who are in the West, you are experiencing a mighty heat wave. However, dozens are dead and more than 1,000 people are assumed missing after flash floods ripped through parts of Western Europe. Rescue and recovery efforts are underway in Germany, Belgium, Luxembourg, and the Netherlands, where the river swelled and swept through towns, dragging entire structures away in the flow. Across the Atlantic, an opposite threat looms. About 71 large fires are now scorching 1 million acres across the U.S., and their smoke can be seen from California all the way to New York. And we can even see some of that here in Ohio. And also in the New York area, millions are under a heat advisory as a heat index, the feels like temperature, could hit 103 today. Our coronavirus update from CNN: a rise in the COVID-19 cases here in the U.S. have been attributed to the now dominant Delta variant, which is believed to be more transmissible than ever before. Doctors say that most new COVID-19 cases, hospitalizations, and deaths are among unvaccinated people. Unvaccinated people. And meanwhile, with just days to go until the Olympics, organizers announced the changes to medal ceremonies, which will include mandatory masks for all the participants and a modified podium. COVID-19 cases are surging in almost every state, and CNN medical analyst Dr. Lan Win says that it's time to do something dramatic to protect the country from a tragic fall season. Hospitals are filling up in places like Arkansas, where only 35% of the population is fully vaccinated. Los Angeles County, the nation's most populous county, will reinstate its mask mandate this weekend, requiring masking indoors regardless of vaccination state. The Delta variant is also fueling huge surges in the Middle East and also North Africa. Tunisia has been especially hit hard and is reimposing lockdowns. The North African nation now has its highest COVID-19 mortality rate in the Eastern Mediterranean region and on the African continent. And in Iraq, less than 1% of the population has already received a corona vaccine dose, only 1%. The good news this week is that I haven't gotten into any heated discussions with my anti-vaxxer Facebook friends. How about that? First week in about 3. Okay. Again, I can't tell you to get vaccinated. I highly support you, though. Unless told by your doctor, please go get vaccinated. And I saw in the news outbreaks of COVID-19 at a church camp here in Ohio, and also from the Southern Baptist Convention General Meeting this past week. This pandemic is not over yet. Can we understand that? By getting vaccinated, you are doing the most loving thing I know for yourself and also others. We won't go through all of this, but talking about Facebook, the Surgeon General issues warning over vaccine misinformation as the White House turns up the heat on Facebook. So this week, Surgeon General Dr. Vivek Murthy warned on Thursday misinformation is a serious threat to public health as administration officials grow increasingly concerned about misleading claims about the coronavirus vaccine, leading to a confrontation with social media, Facebook. I am urging all Americans to help stop the spread of health misinformation during the COVID-19 pandemic and beyond, Murthy wrote in a 22-page advisory that he held up for the cameras this past week. Health misinformation is a serious threat to public health. It can cause confusion, sow mistrust, and also harm people's health and undermine public health efforts. Limiting the spread of health misinformation is a moral and civic imperative that will require a whole of society effort. I won't go through all the wonderful news article about that. But again, this is a serious thing to really consider when not heeding the warnings of health officials. I'll just read parts of this. It says, the divide between vaccinated and unvaccinated people has begun to break along political lines, with Democratic-leaning areas ahead of Republican ones in vaccination rates. Officials attribute part of the reason for the discrepancies to messages repeated in the conservative media that question why people need the vaccine, and that President Joe Biden's attempt to get the country vaccinated amounted to government overreach. Dr. Murthy told CNN's Jake Tapper in an interview on The Lead this week, he said, millions of people don't have access to accurate information right now because on social media platforms and other tech platforms, we're seeing the rampant spread of misinformation, and it's costing people their lives. So getting information about COVID-19 off of Facebook is not really a good idea. Again, go to the CDC website, the WHO. They have accurate information about this. And I say this because I do love you and I do care about you, even though I've never met you, is that we need to take this seriously here. Again, we've had hundreds of clergy die from COVID-19. So we want to go ahead and we want to just be vigilant about this. I'm not saying being in fear. I'm saying that we need to be in faith. And also, I encourage people to go get vaccinated also. Also in the news, it says Black Americans are battling 3 pandemics. A new report finds released on Thursday. High unemployment rates, lower household incomes, and a lack of access to health care has left Black Americans more vulnerable to the COVID-19 pandemic, and there is an urgency to address these structural inadequacies, according to a new report on the state of Black America released on Thursday by the National Urban League. The report, titled "The New Normal: Diverse, Equitable, and Inclusive," concluded that Black people are facing the burden of 3 pandemics, which include racial inequality in healthcare, economics, and public safety. The authors of the report also point to over-policing, including frequent targeting of young Black men, and also the lower vaccination rates due to a dearth of healthcare facilities and poor internet access as key challenges for the Black community that have been unmasked by the pandemic. Police brutality against Black people was back in the spotlight after the deaths of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor sparked a nationwide reckoning on racism last year, even as the country battled a pandemic. The report also notes that key data revealed an economic disparity between Black and white people. For example, nearly 17% of Black households lack basic financial services, such as access to banks, compared to 3% of white households. Additionally, median family income for Black families was just over $40,000 in 2018, compared to around $70,000 for white families. One solution the report discussed is free low-cost banking services that allow Black households to build wealth. If you have a congregation of over 500 people, you can start in your community a credit union. Think about that. It says Black people were more likely than whites to live more than 10 miles from a vaccine facility, the report said. Online signups for appointments also pose a barrier. Black and Latino households are more than twice as likely as whites to lack a home computer and about 50% more likely to lack high-speed internet access. So what can we do in our New Thought communities? A lot. How about holding free health clinics? How about calling up the local health department and say, yes, what we would like to do is we would like to hold a vaccination clinic in our neighborhood? How about continuing to present diversity and inclusion seminars? We in New Thought need to lead not only with our consciousness, but also with our action. Our African American brothers and sisters are deeply hurting. Now, this is what I get. Do you mean that if I talk about it, that I give it more power? This is what I say. I say that by ignoring social issues like this one, we allow it to fester and create more havoc. My reason for speaking up is the empowerment of all people here. If we really want a world that does work for everyone, as stated in the Centers for Spiritual Living Global Vision, we in New Thought need to lead the way through prayer, education, and social action. We will have on in a few weeks a CSL minister friend of mine who works on social justice issues in her community. The fire will go out as we stop ignoring it and go put the fire out. All right? Well, good evening and welcome. I got done with the news, Diego. How about that? He told me, he said, keep it short tonight, Pastor. We have a really good guest, and I agree. Our guest this evening in just a few moments will be the president of the International New Thought Alliance, and that is Reverend Dr. Tim Stewart, who will talk about the wonderful conference that they will have next week online. And so you stay tuned for that. I know that, I've been to INTA conferences, and let me tell you something. They are absolutely wonderful. So we'll be talking to Reverend Dr. Tim Stewart here in just a moment. Let's do a few announcements, and then we'll go to our break. Yours truly is currently parking himself at Summit CSL. For more information, go to summitcsl.org. There, and only there, you will find information about our wonderful Sunday gathering online at 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific time. Yes, for all my friends on the West Coast, people do get up that early to join us online. So grab your cup of coffee, your tea, your espresso, your boba tea, and come and join us. I think that we have one of the best services out there in New Thought. So this Sunday, we will continue our series on the spiritual quality of power with our longtime music director, John Miller, with special music from California, Tim Morrow. So please go to summitcsl.org for more information on how to join our Zoom call. Our service is also simulcast on the Summit Spiritual Center of Akron Facebook page, and our Facebook page also has past broadcast of the world famous and ever popular Friday Fireside Chat. And also, when I'm doing prayer on the New Thought Media Network, I will not do what I did last night, which was, for some reason, I could hear myself in my own microphone, but somehow or another, I didn't have the settings right for StreamYard. So we had prayer in the silence last night. I'm surprised I haven't gotten a note yet from Robert Brzezinski about that, but that's okay. The one thing everyone can do to help us here at New Thought Media Network is this: share the Fireside Chat and other programs that you find inspirational on your Facebook page and also on social media. You are our best way of getting the message out there to your community members, to your ministers, to the whole world. So again, I have like 1,800 friends on my Facebook page. And the reason being is because most of them are involved in New Thought. So that's the reason why we broadcast live. So if you want to, again, please share this on your Facebook page. Also, if you'd like more information on how to share, please contact me at pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com. I'll give you more information. Currently open for individual practitioner sessions. I do speak on Sundays, and also I do wonderful ceremonies. So email me at pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com for more information. All right, Diego. Robert's going to chew me out. I was supposed to be on a 6 o'clock meeting, and I wasn't there. I told him that my rehearsal was running late. But we have all kinds of wonderful things that we're doing here on our network. And again, if I started telling you the wonderful schedule and start reading all the wonderful programs that we have, again, we'd be here after midnight. But tomorrow we have our Science of Mind lecture series continuing. And also tomorrow evening, Spirit Says Sing, the Law of Attraction with our own Reverend Robert Brzezinski. Spirit Says Sing tomorrow evening. That's at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern here on the New Thought Media Network. And we're asking for your support. We're currently putting the budget together for 2022. Reverend Robert has tasked us to raise the whole budget here, and we're asking for your support. And again, I have my monthly contribution taken out automatically. You can do that on GiveButter. If you take a look on our donate page at ntmedia.org, you will find all kinds of levels to donate. It really does make a difference. We reach the whole world with this message. And we're also looking at other ways of getting the message out there, including shortwave. Yes. So we're looking at that. Again, ntmedia.org/donate. Please help us to change the world. All right. Thank you very much. And we'll be back with our special guest, Reverend Dr. Tim Stewart, in just a second. You are watching the Friday Evening Fireside Chat here on the New Thought Media Network.
Thought Media Network is on the rise. We're looking to grow with you. Do you have technical media experience or perhaps a desire to learn? Are you willing to volunteer your precious time and attention? We share this message to benefit all. If you possess a computer with a camera and a microphone, we will share our knowledge with you. Behind the scenes or being the star, let us bless our one. Contact us at info@ntmedia.org.
The views and opinions expressed by Pastor Michael Mangus are generally right. However, they are his own and do not reflect the views and opinions of New Thought Media Network, Centers for Spiritual Living, or any other person living or dead. As they say in the 12-Step Recovery Program, take what you like and leave the rest. Here again is Pastor Michael.
Diego is saying he's so proud of me that I ended at 27 after the hour. I think that's a new record here. We are so pleased to have with us this evening as our special guest, the Reverend Dr. Tim Stewart. Tim is the president of the International New Thought Alliance, which is having a big conference next week, the 106th annual conference called Conscious Awakening, an online event. That's Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, July 20th, 21st, and 22nd. Again, for more information on that, Again, please go to newthoughtevents.org. You can register for all 3 days for only $199. And you can stay at home and even stay in your jammies and enjoy the conference. Dr. Chem, welcome again to the New Thought Media Network. It's good to have you along.
Oh, unmuting is a wonderful thing to do.
or you're going to be like me last night and, have silent prayer for 15 minutes. And then I wondered why last night I didn't have any viewers.
Well, it is great to be here. Thank you for having me back. And I'm excited about our Congress coming up next week, and just so many wonderful things. And well, I'm gonna let you go ahead and take the lead here, because otherwise I've been known to make other people look like a mime, no matter how much they talk.
Oh, okay. Well, listen, we're known here on the Fireside Chat of letting our guests go on, but tell us a little bit about first of all, the history of the International New Thought Alliance. I was in a class last week, and we had a newly licensed practitioner who said, I've never heard of INTA. So if you could tell us a little bit about the organization and a little bit more about the conference coming up.
Okay. INTA, or the International New Thought Alliance, we go by just the initials quite often, is an umbrella organization for all of New Thought. By umbrella, it simply means that we work to bring the different groups together to collaborate. Often people think of one group and another merging together and becoming one. But we have religious science, or as they are now known as the Centers for Spiritual Living. We have unity. We have divine science, the Universal Foundation for Better Living. There are some other groups that aren't as well known, such as Power Circle. I could go on with some others like that. There's still at least one Home of Truth church that I'm aware of. And all of these groups have the same foundation. They have the same truth that God is all there is. We're not out fighting some other force. There's one power. We have foundational truths, but each group has something that makes it unique. If we look, and I use this analogy often, if we look outside where I live, there are tornadoes on occasion. If we see two tornadoes, it looks like two things. But a tornado is only wind, and wind is only air. Air is one thing around this world, no matter if it's inside my home or in yours or where, it's considered one thing. So it's one thing expressing as two. You and I tonight, we're one thing expressing differently. We're not, because we're unique expressions, we learn things differently. We accept things differently. Different things inspire us. We'll never, and I'm going to get into a sermonator for a second, but understand you'll never be closer to God or further from God. As a matter of fact, this common phrase we use of saying one with God, we have an imperfect language trying to describe, or a finite language trying to describe an infinite principle. But one with means two. We are simply God in a unique expression is what we are. But because we're unique, we have these various groups. INTA is a place that we come together. And when we talk about diversity, and you said something about diversity earlier, at an INTA Congress, you will see people from different nationalities, different countries, when we do them live or as a destination, as we have in the past prior to COVID. You would see perhaps someone there from Australia or somewhere in Africa or South America, from the Caribbean, from the US, Canada, you name it. And this great diversity, though, there's one diversity that didn't show, and that was all the different New Thought groups. Because we come together and we embrace that which is diverse. You hear the phrase celebrate diversity. Well, we embrace it. We embrace that diversity, that's something that is different than what we are, something that appears different. We know it's the same substance, the same essence. It's God in expression, but we embrace that diversity in love and we celebrate the fact that there is unity. And when I use unity there, I'm not talking about the organization. I'm talking about the unity of us being together as being one. And we try to encourage New Thought organizations to be able to collaborate and to grow. And as I often tell people, they say, well, which is the best? And I tell them, wherever you go that you feel the most empowered, you feel the most enrichment for your life, you feel the greatest inspiration, that is the best one for you, and that's where you belong. So,
and the one thing that you mentioned, one of my favorite congregations, Power Circle congregation,
yes.
which is on the south side of Chicago, and I went there, and I think it was 2012 for an INTA ministers conference, and that was again a lot of things that support that I have received out here in the field. And this is not against Centers for Spiritual Living or the ministers or anyone else, but a lot of support that I have received over the years has been by going to INTA events, because there I was treated as a colleague and not just a practitioner, but again, I have ordination in another organization, but the whole idea is that I was faced with getting support for something I had no idea how to run. I mean, they don't give you a handbook on how to run a spiritual center, even after going through Holmes Institute. Again, that handbook, because of COVID, has been thrown to the shredder. Okay. Mm-hmm. So we are just listening to Spirit now on how Spirit wants to express in and through our communities and in and through ministry and in and through the licensed teachers and also the practitioners. So.
Yeah. And that is the wonderful thing about INTA, because you will have people come in that now Power Circle, any of the listeners who aren't familiar with that, a wonderful and very dynamic minister, Reverend Dr. Joe Hill, leads that. And Joe is just, he's absolutely amazing. You will, I still remember the first time I heard him speak and how he began his talk. And I was just, something within me was stirred by it. So, but other groups that may not be as well known, you'll find ministers come from there to INTA, and there's no judgment of this is better than that or whatever. It's a fact about we share and we walk in the same truth. And as I tell people, the big, not the political big lie that we talk about now, but the big lie that's told to people is that no one's perfect. And you have to understand, you're perfectly you. You are perfectly you. You are this divine expression, and being yourself is all that you were ever required to be in life. And people that may listen to me and I may say something that touches them, and there are others that they won't care as much for it. They may prefer something that you say or something that someone else says. We're all there for that purpose. As we used to say when I was growing up, that's why they have vanilla and chocolate ice cream, because people like something different. I will go back, because you said that you wanted to know a little bit about the history of INTA. Again, it's a 107-year-old organization. First president was Thomas Troward. And for those, especially those, again, in Centers for Spiritual Living, where Troward is a required course, he was the first president. You also had people like Raymond Charles Barker, Horatio Dresser, different ones who led it throughout the years. And back in the 80s and 90s, when we would have our World Congress, you could have 2,000, 3,000, or 4,000 people or more there. It was huge. And, there was some things in the 90s that brought that to an end, but we are seeing growth again in the organization. And, we've got some really great speakers coming up. I'm going to take a minute just to mention for those of you who may be watching and are familiar with Mitch Horowitz. Mitch Horowitz is not part of any organization, but he is he does things for Unity. He does them for Centers for Spiritual Living, and he is going to be one of our featured evening speakers. And most of our speakers will only be speaking about a half hour. So we've given him an hour and a half. He'll do an hour presentation and a half hour of question and answer. So if you're a Mitch Horowitz fan, go to newthoughtevents.org and go ahead and get registered for that.
Let me show everyone what Mitch has been known for. He's brought back the classics.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, he also does his own writing, but like, for example, like The $1 Million Secret, Hidden in Your Mind, Anthony Norvell, huge speaker in the New York City area, Carnegie Hall, years selling out there. Is that what Mitch has done is he has brought back out, into print all of these classics that are just absolutely wonderful. So, and he's a wonderful student of the occult or hidden teachings. He's written several books about the occult America and also about positive thinking and a lot of other great books that probably that you have. So that's worth the price of admission, is seeing Mitch Horowitz live. That's wonderful.
Absolutely. And not only that, two of the people in New Thought that one gets more notice than the other. One is Joseph Murphy. And Joseph Murphy was absolutely magnificent. Okay. Wrote a book called The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, which is probably his best known work, but he wrote numerous books, changed the lives of tens of thousands of people. All right. But he's a fan of Joseph Murphy and also of Neville Goddard. And many people are not familiar with Neville, and I absolutely love Neville. So when I had the opportunity to speak with Mitch over the phone, we brought that up, and there was just this instant camaraderie because we shared that love for Neville. And matter of fact, he will be using some of Neville's things in his talk. So there'll be several things there, but he will bring that up. And he's not the only one that's going to be there. There's the Dennis Merritt Jones. Are you familiar with Dennis Merritt Jones?
Of course I am.
All right.
Of course I am.
He will also be presenting. Sonia Byrne, who is the president of CSL. Reverend Dr. J. Scott Neal is going to.
Who is that guy?
Oh, he's some guy. He talks about being Fenwick Holmes' last student, or one of Fenwick Holmes' students, not necessarily his last one, but
I'm just kidding, because J. Scott Neal's a dear friend, and he really, I know that he has helped us over the years here in Akron and has always been there for me. So and he's a wonderful speaker. So you're going to really get a lot. Make sure that you attend his session, and go ahead.
He will actually be speaking on that Tuesday morning. So you would need to be there in the morning for that. Also, Reverend Dr. Sheila Mckeithen, who is the president of the Universal Foundation for Better Living.
Oh, that's worth the price of admission. Sheila Mckeithen is an absolutely dynamic speaker who really speaks from the heart. And I'm telling you, is that I love to hear Reverend Dr. Sheila's talk. I mean, she's wonderful.
Well, I will say this about Reverend Sheila, and she is a dear friend of mine, and I just admire everything she does. Her life is a life of integrity and purpose. We had her, or when I was president of Divine Science Federation International, when I was president of that, and we did our biennial conference at Unity Village, and I had her come there to be our speaker, our keynote speaker before our banquet. And on that day, I noticed extra people coming in. there were people who attended Agape out in LA that flew in from California to Kansas City to go to Unity Village just to hear Sheila Mckeithen. And she is absolutely, again, worth the price of admission right there. Reverend Dr. Darrell Watkins. Now, are you familiar with Darrell by any chance?
A little. Inform us a little bit more about Dr. Darrell.
All right. Darrell is the current president of Divine Science. And to give you a little idea of Darrell, he is a magnificent speaker. He is always one of the top-rated speakers at any conference that where he speaks. But he has a church in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and that church normal attendance on Sunday mornings was between 400 to 600 people. Most people, especially in New Thought, they say, "Well, that's a great sized church." But he had decided he wanted to build an online presence. This was before COVID, but the timing of that, it just happened that Florida went into lockdown about the time that the online company that he hired started to do it. So on Good Friday of 2020 was an online service, and that 400 to 600 that normally was present in the building turned into a 5,000 person audience online. 1 week later, on Easter, the 5,000 had gone to 15,000. And today, that audience is approximately 30,000 individual viewers every week watch some part of his service. 30,000 a week. He has a following in Belize, but that's, he does have a niche. His church is very active in the LGBTQ community, right? And but anyone and everyone can walk into his church and feel right at home. I've never been a visitor somewhere that I felt any more welcome and at home than I have at Sunshine Cathedral, which is his church in Florida. Impressive man. He's earning his second or third doctorate right now, fully accredited doctorate. So again, he will be one of our speakers. Music by Faith Riviera. We're going to have some of that. You can't beat that one. Linda Martella Whitsett, who is a Unity minister. She is, I forget her exact title at Unity Village, but she wrote a book called How to Pray Without Talking to God. Magnificent book. And I often share, I was in a conference once, and the ministers had an opportunity to go to a special workshop just for ministers, and lay people could be in the other. And Linda did the ministers section. And in it, she made this wonderful statement. It says, people often talk about God's will and so on and so forth. She said, I just have one question. If there's only one mind, how can there be two wills? If there's only one mind, how can there be two wills? And it's understanding that when you desire good, that's God's will. That's God's will when you make up your mind. So
if you're wondering what you've tuned into this evening, hello there. This is the Friday Evening Fireside Chat here on the New Thought Media Network. We have the privilege of talking with this evening the president of the International New Thought Alliance, the Reverend Dr. Tim Stewart, who is talking about all the wonderful things that will be happening next week at their 106th annual conference, which will be online, Conscious Awakenings. It'll be Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, July 20th, 21st, and 22nd. Again, for more information about that, please go to newthoughtevents.org, newthoughtevents.org. Registration fee is a very inexpensive $199 for the full conference. If you are a lifetime member of INCA, it's only $149, and there is also a day rate. So again, more information, go to newthoughtevents.org. I wanted to talk a little bit more about that, Dr. Tim, about the opportunities that we've had because of COVID. I think that, again, that a lot of ministers who were hesitant about using the internet, about streaming their service, that it's either you streamed or you were done. So we were all forced to go ahead and to get online, and that was the birth of our wonderful network here. Here on New Thought Media Network, is that Robert Brzezinski again had this idea for years, and again that COVID hit, and so that we had to start providing other services that were online and not necessarily in person. So we are still, again, that is the gift I think that we have, is learning really how to use this tool of the internet to really, again, to reach the world. So,
and I may have used this when we were talking in our last time I was on the show, but I look at it kind of like a bird learning to fly. Especially, eagles, the mother eagle will pad the nest with her feathers, but the nest is made of some very uncomfortable, sometimes thorny type materials. And when it begins to be time that the young eaglets should be flying, she'll begin to remove those feathers and pull them out till finally it becomes so uncomfortable they have to fly. And that's kind of what happened. It became uncomfortable. We had to go as a movement. We had to get online if we were going to get the message out. And the wonderful thing about that now, and for areas of the country especially that have opened back up some, I hear ministers saying, oh, we had such a great attendance. And yet they're seeing people after a few weeks of it, they're wanting to go back and watch the online. So we're now learning how to do hybrid services. And we have a gentleman, Reverend Bill Marconi. Do you know Bill?
Yes, I do know Bill. I've met him before. Great New Thought minister in Philadelphia. Yes.
Yes, and he happens to be one of the members of the INTA executive board. So he is one of our board members, does a wonderful little thing called God Calls, that you get a phone call a few times a week with just a short little 30-second to a minute long inspirational something that he'll say. And but Bill is really perfecting this hybrid service of being able to have live people there and at the same time to have that streamed live, because he's built a congregation from there in Philadelphia. He has people out in, I think it's New Mexico or Arizona that were on when I spoke for him. So he has a widespread audience. And so I think we are looking at something new. Again, it is sometimes nice to be able to sit at home and watch it.
Well, I like that, and that I really enjoy going and being with people and getting a hug from them. And I think that, again, as we venture forth, that's what we're learning, is how to do that hybrid service. And again, if you are in a community and would like some help in that, we do that here at the New Thought Media Network. All you have to do is get in contact with us at info@ntmedia.org. Again, that different communities are doing different things. There are some that are still doing the Zoom service. There are some who are doing an online service, a produced service, and then afterwards then having a Zoom call to go ahead and to connect with people. I know what they're doing in Denver is that they're slowly but surely coming back. But what they're doing is they're and I know over in Pittsburgh, they're doing the same thing. They're having social gatherings before going ahead and finding another location. So I think this is an exciting time to be in this, to be, as we see an evolution happen, not only an evolution, not only in New Thought, but also an evolution in the world. And again, that we have to understand that 70% of the people here in this country consider themselves spiritual and not religious. And that is a wonderful crowd to be able to talk to about a practical spirituality that is philosophically based, psychologically sound, that is spiritually solid in every way, that we are given the opportunity. And again, what the things that Mitch has done, Mitch Horowitz, and also even Joel Osteen. Again, some Sundays I think he steals from my service. But the whole idea is that the message is getting out there. And I think that, again, in your community, I'm looking right in the camera, in your community, there are people that, again, that you are not going to reach by inviting to a service. However, if you go ahead and you put up small Facebook ads and invite them online, then they have a sample of your community. And I think that that's something that we're learning how to do, is learning how to market better, and also to be available also to the world. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, as we look at it, what some people look at as an issue or a problem, we can turn it around and make it a great opportunity for us. And today, well, you open with the news, so I'll share something that I read in a news thing not a week or so, a few weeks ago, and that is that in this country, people have found that they can do their work from home, many of them, and be just as productive. And now that their companies are wanting them to go back to work, some of them are leaving their jobs so that they can work from home. So what that tells me is, I'm like you. I enjoy getting together. To me, Sunday morning and getting to get together with people is a huge, huge plus. And yet there are those mornings that sitting at home is really nice. And you don't have to miss out, okay? So I believe we are in this time.
Yeah.
One other thing that I'll point out about New Thought, because you mentioned Joel Osteen, and I'm always, when someone mentions Joel is great. He does a positive message. He's not exactly New Thought because he still believes in this duality of a devil out there. Okay,
the enemy.
The enemy. Okay, so not fully New Thought, but he has a positive message, and that's good. So New Thought, though, is something that, if you go to most churches, they want you to convert to their belief. And in New Thought, you don't have to convert to something. We're willing to open our arms and accept you, and that's fine. We have a teaching, but you don't have to agree with us totally to come in and be part of the community. And that's what attracts people so many times. It's a place that no matter who you are, what else? You can come in and be accepted, and your talents that you want to use will give you the opportunity to do that.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We are out of time. And so it's really, again, Dr. Tim Stewart, again, from the International New Thought Alliance, again, their conference next week, the 106th annual conference, Conscious Awakenings, an online event, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week. Again, for more information, go to newthoughtevents.org. Tickets are still available for that. Please, if you have an opportunity, go. The speakers are absolutely wonderful. You will come out of that so enriched and charged. I remember the online event that we had earlier this year, the Ministers Conference through INT. That was absolutely wonderful. So again, if you go to newthoughtevents.org, you will see Dr. Tim Stewart next week at the 106th Annual Conference of the International New Thought Alliance. Dr. Tim, thank you for coming on our show on such short notice. Sorry about that again, but I wanted to get you on before the event. So thank you again for being on the show this evening.
All right. Thank you for having me. I loved it. So I look forward to next time already. All
right. Well, thank you, Dr. Tim Stewart who's the president of the International New Thought Alliance. Again, thank you so very much. Hey, we're out of time. Just wanted to let you know, again, if you'd like more information about our programming here on the New Thought Media Network, go to ntmedia.org. I will be back tonight. Yes, I will be back, and I'll make sure I have my microphone on at 8:15 Mountain Time. That's 10:15 Eastern Time for evening prayer. Please join us, and we'd love to see all of you. All right. Listen, have a wonderful week. We will see you again tonight and also during the week on many of the wonderful programs that we have here on the New Thought Media Network. Pastor Michael Mangus wishing you a wonderful week.
Thanks for joining us this evening for Friday's Fireside Chat with Pastor Michael Mangus. Join us again next week at 8 Eastern, 6 Mountain for more spiritual conversations for today. For more information and replays of past shows, please visit the New Thought Radio and Media Network's Facebook page. Until next week, may God bless you richly and abundantly.
The Awake Shop by R.Sc.P. Inspiration you can wear. Hats, mugs, hoodies, and tees. Visit theawakeshop.org today.